Good morning, I'm Chris Fox, and today we're talking about audiobooks, specifically how you can sell them. It's pretty difficult compared to ebooks. It's much more difficult to get your books out there just because we have fewer controls. We don't set the original price of our books when we're going through Audible, and we can't discount them whenever we like. So normally with, let's say, ebooks, you can do a Kindle Countdown deal, or you can discount your price across all retailers and run kind of a sale and get a lot of new readers that way. That's not really possible with audiobooks, and so what we instead need to rely on, something that I talk about in the next section of the video, is the length of your audiobook definitely matters, as does things like the cover. I mean, it's really the same marketing materials you need to have for ebooks. But the big difference here is the top 20 is everything, as you're going to see in the second half of this video. I guess without further ado, let's jump into the meat of it. I'll show you guys exactly how I launched TechMage and what tactics I used. So promoting audiobooks is very, very difficult, but as you can see, I've sold quite a lot of them. I'm about to tick over 30,000, and I'm averaging, 1,500 to 2,000 a month. They're very steady. The fluctuations in audio sales are not nearly as great as I found in ebook sales. Anyway, taking a look at TechMage, you can see that in just under 3 weeks, I've sold about 650 copies. I'm averaging, 25 sales a day, which is pretty good. It'll keep humming along at that for some time. So if we take a quick look at one of my previous books, this is the Deathless Collection. It's 43 hours long, and as you guys have heard me mention before, when dealing with audio, the length of your book is critical. Because as Audible listeners, we get 1 or 2 credits depending on our membership plan. And when we purchase a book, I can spend 1 credit to get Brandon Sanderson's newly released Oathbringer, which is 55 hours, or I could buy like a 7-hour book. Which one makes more sense? You only get 1 credit for a month, so you've got to make that book last your entire month. Obviously, you're going to go for the one that's longer. And that was the case with my Deathless Collection. So you can see I released it on January 14th of 2016. And then for almost a full month, it climbs like a meteor, just shoots up all the way to number 382 in the store. And that's because this book has a great cover, and because it has 43 hours. It's 3 complete long novels. And then even after it peaks, you can see it takes quite some time for it to really fall. So here we are in mid-March, and it's still in the top 1,000, still kicking butt. And even after it stops falling, it never really leaves the top 5,000. There's days here and there where it'll leave them, but in general, I'm still selling 5 to 10 copies every single day, and it spikes up to 25 copies a day. You see that occasionally. So this has been a great revenue center for me, and will continue to be. It just makes great money. Now, if we look at TechMage, you can see it's got a very similar intro climb. What happened is I promoted the book hard for the first 72 hours. So you can see, my first 3 days, it kind of peaks up there very high. Then I stop all promotion, and you can see it falls down here to 1815. And then it begins a steady, very visible climb. You can see this line trending upwards. It's not like it's spiking all over the place. It's just a steady climb. That's because the book is converting well. So what I was able to do is land it in the top 20. I'm going to show you why that's critical. If you look at the top 20 in military science fiction right now, the first thing people see when they get to bestsellers, you've got this little carousel with these 5 dots at the bottom. And this is all most people will ever see. They're going to leaf through these 20 books. You can see here I am on page 3. And when they get to the last page, it just takes them back to the first page. So if they're not clicking on one of these 20 books, they're probably just going to leave the site if they don't find anything that they like. It's very, very rare for somebody to click the See All button and go and look beyond those top 20 books. So you really want to be in the top 20 bestsellers. And if you are, you're going to stay there usually for a while. It's going to keep converting because both on mobile and on computer, people are seeing the same carousel, and they're seeing it every day. So for months, if you can keep your book up there, they're going to keep finding it. And that hopefully is what will happen with TechMage. Many people ask about new releases, and once upon a time, this was very similar promotion, where you've got the second carousel down here. But the problem with this one is that so many new books are coming out in every single genre now that audio has become as hot as it is, that you're only in here for a few days. So if your book came out last week, by the end of the week, you're already no longer in here. You come to the end of it and people don't see your book anymore. You fall off very, very quickly. Whereas in bestsellers, you can stay there for weeks or even months, and that's why it's so critical to launch hard. So what did I do to launch hard? What got me here into the bestsellers? Well, obviously I started with my mailing list. If you've got a mailing list, you want to lean hard on them. I give most of my free codes away to my list. But to go beyond that, I also go to places like Reddit, and I'll post on the audiobook subreddit and say, hey guys, I've got a free book. I've got some codes to give away from Audible. Do you want them? And some people will see the link to your book and they'll actually just go buy it. They won't even wait for a code. They're just going to go purchase a copy. But the rest of them are interested in codes, and you can give them away here. So what I typically do when I'm giving away one of my books, I save up codes. So I saved up 25 codes from Press the Line, which was my last audio release before this. I asked the narrator for codes, and Ryan was gracious enough to give me an additional 20. And then I begged, borrowed, and pleaded with Audible to send me more. So when all was said and done, I had about 100 codes. And I gave them all away in this window right here. So over this 3-day period, this is me pulling every lever that I can. I've got Facebook ads running to my fans saying, hey guys, the book is out. Because I know that if I could sustain it for a few days' time, Audible would take over just like Amazon does. That's exactly what's happened. The book is selling enormously well. I suspect it will be for some time. And I'm going to keep doing the same thing with future books. When Void Word comes out, it's going to reinforce the success of TechMage. And I'm just going to keep pushing. Now, if you contrast that with some of my other releases, like say the Ganog Wars, I didn't push nearly as hard. It didn't break into this top 20. And so what you get is people will buy the early books in the series, but they won't keep buying through because they're not even sure that it's there. They're not seeing it. So if we scroll down here to Behind the Lines, I've only sold 444 copies of this book, and it's been out since May. Because I didn't get it into that top 20, no one is seeing this cover on a daily basis, and so it's just not selling. Those people who have read the book absolutely love it, but really I've kind of failed to promote this one. And it's never too late for me to go back and do it, but since audio codes are such a big part of your release, I'd have to save some up in order to re-release Behind the Lines, and so I have not yet done so. But the upside is because I do royalty shares with my narrator, everything is profit. I don't pay anything up front. You know, he gets 50% of the profit, but every time we sell a book, we both get money. So even though I haven't sold a ton of copies here on these books, I am making good money. And then you get to have successes like TechMage, where you do sell a ton of copies and are still making great money. So anyway, guys, that's a little bit more about how I promoted TechMage. That 72-hour window is so important, and you want to use that to your benefit. So make sure you've got some planning. If you're not familiar with Reddit, there are a number of other sites like this. Find places where people are reading audiobooks and give them something for free, and they're happy to take a look at what you've got. So hopefully that helps you guys with your next audio launch. I am actually, I kind of have a week off this week, so instead of saying I'm going back to the writing, I'm actually going back to the plotting and working on book 3. Anyway, I will have another video prepared for next week, and I'll see you guys then.